Hi, my name's Yuli Somme and I'm going to show you how to make feet felts, but first you need to gather some equipment together. You need a chopping board or something similar. I use this inside of a padded envelope. It's bubble wrap with the bubbles facing up. And an old towel for mopping up. You need a little tin tray. I use a baking tray to put the wool in when it's ready. A bar of any soap. A plastic milk bottle with little holes stabbed into the lid there and filled with warm water. You need 2 plastic bags to fit the feet. And I've got an old piece of plastic sheeting, a bowl to put water in later, and the wool. You need a good pair of walking boots or trainers or wellies, just big enough so that you can get the equivalent of some thick socks inside. And now I'm going to show you how to prepare little patches of wool. And it's about 50 grams per foot that you need, and do prepare more than you think you will need, because it doesn't matter if there's some left over. You can let it dry out and then re-wet it another time. And I'm going to just sprinkle the bubble wrap with a little bit of water, both sides. So first of all, just take a little piece of wool off. This is called tops. It's a sort of rope of wool, and you need to break off a little piece that you can work with easily. Keep your hands far apart and loose. Don't grip it and then try and rip it. So far apart and loose, and just break off a little section about that long. And then you put the tip down on the plastic here. Make sure this is flat. Use the fleshy part of your hand. Hold the wool gently, a few inches away from your left hand, and draw the fibres away. It's a very gentle action. And that leaves a little tuft of wool. The fibres are mostly going that way. So you need a second layer for your patch, going at right angles. And again, just keep your hand loose and draw it away. So you've got basically 2 tufts of wool on the bubble wrap. And then with the soap, you just rub the wet part of the other side of the bubble wrap so that it's nice and soapy. And again, sprinkle the wool with a tiny bit of water, and then fold the bubble wrap over this. And I just sprinkle a little bit of water over that and a little bit of soap rubbed onto that package, and that makes it easy to then rub the wool. And the aim is to make the wool flat and damp, and the soap really helps the water to penetrate into the fibres. And when you've done that, you can open up the package. And I'm just flicking down the fibres with the edge of my hand, and it should be nice and flat, little patch. A raggedy patch, but don't worry about that. So let's do another one. And then you've got another lovely little raggedy patch of wool that I'm going to put in the tray. And you keep going. So I've prepared my last patch, and now I'm going to dress the feet. So now I'm going to show you how to dress the feet. I've got a towel on my lap and I'm going to cover my lap with this sheet of plastic just to keep it dry. I've got a bowl of warm water and the 2 plastic bags ready for putting on the feet when I've finished, and a bar of soap. And I've kept the wool warm on a radiator. And Hazel here, sitting comfortably. And I'm going to start at the toe. So I'm going to take my first little patch of wool and I'm going to start here. And I'm going to make my hands wet and rub some soap on so they're nice and pasty. It's almost like working with plaster of Paris, and then I can work the wool into the toes, into the little crevices. And a second patch here, just going to overlap it slightly under the foot here. And you might find the layers a little bit difficult to separate at first. Don't worry too much, as long as you've got a patch of wool. And overlap along one side of the foot. Remember, as you're walking, what happens is the fibres start felting from the friction of walking, and it will shrink eventually. So you've got to make sure that you have an opening right down the front here. Of course you could cut it if it's shrunk too much. So I'm going to put on 3 layers of wool altogether. This is the first layer. Around the heel, and if it gets a bit dry, just wet your hands and rub on the soap again. Get that nice pasty feeling. And under the foot here, tuck it in. If you've got some folds or creases, don't worry too much about them, they will sort of iron themselves out. Around the heel. You can see how sort of pasty it becomes. Very malleable. So that's the first layer. Now I'm going to do the second layer. So I'm aiming for the same thickness as a thick pair of socks. And then you can get your foot into your shoe easily. Again, start at the toe. Bring it round. Mould it in. Around the heel again. What's it feel like, Hazel?
Bubbly.
Bubbly?
Yeah.
If you really want to work it into the feet, you can just rub your hands in the soap and sort of mould it into the feet. Get a nice impression there. Now I'm on the third layer. So the third layer is really just for adding where it's necessary. Then just use the patches to patch any areas that might be a bit thin. You can also stretch the layer, the patches, a little bit at this point. Stretch it round, it's quite filmy. I think I'm just going to put one on the heel now, just to make sure that the heel's okay. And you can go up further than this if you want. You can go up to about here if you've got welly boots. You need something to kind of rub against. So, there we are, got a little front opening here. And now I'm going to put the plastic bag over the top. And put the foot straight into the boot. Don't worry if you feel you've gone through the plastic bag. At that point, it's all quite secure in there, so it doesn't really matter if you feel your toes going through the plastic bag. And now the other foot. Now it's time for the walk. You need to walk around about 2 miles, that should do it. How's it feel?
It feels less bubbly now, quite strange. I can feel it tightening.
So this is the best bit, Hazel. Take your boots off. And then she's going to have a nice paddle. So they're beautifully felted, really lovely. And we've got some nice warm water here. You can do this in the bath or a shower. Just get a nice couple of inches of warm water. In you get. So if you just massage the feet in the water just to get the soap out, to clean them up a little bit too. Then you have a towel. You can just step onto the towel. Squeeze out the water. They've worked really beautifully. They're lovely. You can see the toes. What do you think, Hayes?
They're really nice.
They're lovely, aren't they? Really nice texture to them. So soft. And now you can take them off. You've got some beautiful impressions of your feet. They're almost dry, they're not dripping with water. Really beautiful. And now I'm going to hang them up to dry. I hope you've really enjoyed making your feet felt. They're not really designed for wearing again, so you can use your imagination as to what to do with them. You can put them on display on a mantelpiece or in a nice presentation box. Make a mobile out of them. You could have the whole family hanging up. You can use them as planters. Let your imagination go wild.
This is like a factory in London. See a massive amount of activity going on.
Okay.
She's got size 9 wellies on. How are your feet, Georgia?
Yeah, nice and cool now.
Whoa!
They feel amazing.
Oh my god.
What's it like?
It's so cool, look. Oh yeah.
Oh, look at that. Isn't that lovely? It's like a shell.
That's great, that's a real
It's
plonk, isn't
beautiful.
it? Whoa! Yeah! Tick! Yay! Oh! Squidgy! You come off?
Yeah. Hard.
Like, yeah, like kind of slowly, always.